The morning alarm rang at 6 a.m. sharp. June opened his eyes and took a deep breath. Another day on horizon, the human colony far from Earth. He sat up in bed and looked out the small window. Outside, he could see the big gas planet that horizon orbited. It was a mix of blue and purple swirls. The sight still amazed him even after 3 years. "Dad! Dad, are you awake?" 6-year-old Hannah burst into his room. Her black hair was messy from sleep, but her eyes were bright and full of energy. "Yes, little star, I'm awake." June smiled at his daughter. She was his whole world now that Mina was gone. "Today is special show day at school. I'm going to tell everyone about Mom's star map." Hannah jumped on the bed, holding a worn piece of paper. It was a map of Earth's night sky that Mina had drawn before they left their home planet. "That's great, Hannah. Mom would be proud." June hugged his daughter close. Mina had died during their journey to Horizon when their ship hit unexpected space debris. The medical team couldn't save her, but they saved Hannah, who was only 3 at the time. The pain was still fresh for June, but he stayed strong for his daughter. "Come on, we need to get ready. I have a big job at the power station today, and you have your show." June got out of bed and began their morning routine. Their home was small but comfortable. The colony gave better housing to engineers, like June, who kept everything running. They had 2 bedrooms, a living area, a small kitchen, and best of all, a viewing window that looked out into space. Many families in the colony had to share smaller homes. After a quick breakfast of synthetic eggs and real toast, the colony farm had started growing wheat last year. June helped Hannah pack her school bag. "Do you have your lunch?" he asked. "Yes," Hannah said, pointing to her lunchbox. "Your water bottle?" "Yes." "Your star map for the show?" Hannah held up the precious paper. "Right here." June smiled. "Perfect. Let's go." They walked through the colony's main hallway. Horizon was built mostly underground for protection from space radiation. The hallways were wide and lit with soft white lights that changed to match Earth's day-night cycle. People moved about, heading to work or school. Everyone wore the same basic clothes, sturdy pants and shirts in blue, gray, or green. Only, the patches on their shoulders showed their jobs: red for medical, blue for engineering, green for farming, yellow for teaching, and so on. "Good morning, June. Hannah." Taeyong, the head of food production, waved at them. His green patch marked him as part of the farming team. "Morning, Taeyong," June called back. "How's the new tomato crop?" "Coming along great. You should bring Hannah by this weekend to see. We've got some that are almost ripe." Hannah's eyes lit up. "Real tomatoes. Can we go, Dad?" "Of course we can," June promised. Fresh fruits and vegetables were rare treats on Horizon. Most food was grown in the farming domes, but it took time and resources to expand food production. They continued walking until they reached the school section. Unlike the rest of the colony with its metal walls, the school was painted with bright colors. Pictures of Earth animals, plants, and landmarks covered the walls, things many of the colony children had never seen in real life. "Have a great day, Hannah. I'll pick you up after work for the parent showcase." June bent down to hug his daughter. "Bye, Dad." Hannah ran to join her friends who were gathering at the door where Ms. G, their teacher, was greeting each child. June waved one more time before heading to the power station. As the colony's lead power engineer, he was responsible for keeping Horizon's lights on and air flowing. Today he would be fixing one of the backup generators that had been making strange noises. The power station was in the deepest part of the colony. June took the elevator down 6 levels. The doors opened to reveal a large room filled with humming machines. Screens on the wall showed power levels, oxygen production, and other vital stats. "There you are, June." His assistant, Day, looked relieved to see him. "Generator 3 is making that noise again, and now it's getting hot too." June frowned. "That's not good. Let's check it out." For the next few hours, June and Day worked on the generator. They took it apart piece by piece, checking each component. Finally, June found the problem: a small crack in one of the cooling pipes. "Here's our troublemaker," he said, showing Day the damaged part. "We'll need to replace it and run a full system check." By midday, they had fixed the generator and it was running smoothly again. June wiped the sweat from his forehead. and checked the time. He still had a few hours before Hana's school showcase. "I'm going to check on the solar array," he told Dai. "The efficiency has been dropping slightly." The solar array was on the surface. To reach it, June had to put on a protective suit. Even though Horizon had a thin atmosphere, it wasn't breathable for humans. The suit was bulky but familiar. June had worn it hundreds of times. Once suited up, he took the surface elevator. The doors opened to reveal Horizon's stark landscape. The ground was reddish-brown rock with no plants or water. Above, the sky was a dark purple instead of Earth's blue, and dominating everything was the huge gas planet they orbited, taking up almost a quarter of the sky. June walked carefully to the solar array, hundreds of black panels that soaked up the distant sun's light. He began checking each section, making notes of any panels that needed cleaning or repairs. As he worked, he didn't notice the slight shimmer in the sky above the colony. Anyone watching might have missed it too, just a brief distortion like heat waves rising from hot ground. But there was no heat here, only the cold of space. The shimmer moved closer to the colony, hovering directly over the solar array where June worked. It was a ship, massive and strange, nothing like human designs, but it was hidden by technology far beyond human understanding. Inside this invisible ship, alien eyes watched June with curiosity and concern. The Void Striders had been observing Horizon for months. This moon was part of their ancient travel route, a place their kind had visited for thousands of years. The human colony was new, unexpected, and troubling. The Void Strider captain, who had no name that could be spoken with a human tongue, watched the small human work on the energy collectors. Soon, they would need to decide what to do about these newcomers. Their laws were clear. This territory was sacred, but the humans seemed peaceful. Perhaps there was a way to share? Unknown to June, as he finished his work and headed back inside, a meeting was happening above him that would change everything. The Void Striders were deciding the fate of Horizon Colony, and time was running out. June made it back to the colony just in time for Hana's school showcase. He quickly changed out of his work clothes and hurried to the school area. The hallway outside the classroom was filled with parents waiting to go in. "Cutting it close, aren't you?" Commander Kyung stood with her arms crossed, but she was smiling. As the military leader of Horizon, she was a serious woman with short gray hair and perfect posture. But she had a soft spot for the colony's children. "Generator problems," June explained. "All fixed now." "Good. We can't afford power issues." Kyung's smile faded. "The long-range sensors picked up something strange today. Probably just space debris, but I have the team running extra checks." Before June could ask more questions, the classroom door opened. Ms. G welcomed the parents inside with a bright smile. "Come in, everyone. The children are so excited to show you their projects." The classroom was decorated with the children's artwork. Small tables were set up around the room, each with a different display. June looked for Hana and found her at a table near the window. She jumped up when she saw him. "Dad, you came." Hana grabbed his hand and pulled him to her table. On it was Mina's star map, now in a simple frame that Hana had decorated with colored rocks and bits of metal. "Of course I came, I wouldn't miss it." June squeezed her hand. "Show me what you did." Hana proudly pointed to the star map. "This is Mom's map of Earth's stars. She made it before we left. This star here is where Earth is." She pointed to a small dot labeled Sol. "And this one is where we are now." She pointed to another star labeled Epsilon Eridani. "Mom told me that even though the stars look different from Horizon, they're still the same stars. So we're not really that far from home." Hana's voice was serious. "I told everyone in class about how Mom was a navigator on our ship, and how she knew all the stars by heart." June felt his throat tighten. Mina had been the ship's assistant navigator, and she had loved the stars. He was about to tell Hana how proud he was when a loud alarm started blaring throughout the colony. The sound was harsh and pulsing. 3 long blasts, then a pause, then 3 more. Everyone froze. This wasn't a drill alarm or a system failure. Alert. This was the external threat alarm, something they had never heard outside of monthly drills. Commander Kyung's communicator beeped. She answered it, her face going pale as she listened. Then she turned to the room. Everyone needs to move to the emergency shelters immediately. This is not a drill. Parents grabbed their children. Ms. G tried to keep everyone calm, but fear spread quickly. June picked up Hana, who clutched her star map frame tightly. "What's happening, Dad?" she asked, her eyes wide. "I don't know, but we need to go to the shelter." June kept his voice steady, though his heart was racing. "It's going to be okay." They followed the crowd into the hallway. Colony security officers were directing people toward the emergency stairs. The elevators were shut down during alerts to prevent people from getting trapped if the power failed. All civilians to level B shelters, an officer called out. "Please move quickly, but do not run." As they reached the stairs, June's communicator buzzed. It was a priority message for all engineering staff. "All Level 1 engineers report to command center immediately." June hesitated. His duty as an engineer meant he needed to help the colony, but his duty as a father was to keep Hana safe. "June!" He turned to see Day pushing through the crowd. "I can take Hana to the shelter. They need you in command." June knelt in front of his daughter. "Hana, I have to go help fix something important. Day will take you to the shelter and I'll come find you as soon as I can." Hana looked scared but nodded bravely. "Promise you'll come back?" "I promise." June hugged her tightly, then handed her to Day. "Keep her safe." "With my life," Day promised. He took Hana's hand. "Come on, little star. Let's go somewhere safe." June watched them disappear down the stairs, then ran in the opposite direction. The command center was on level 2, near the colony's surface. When he arrived, the room was in controlled chaos. Officers moved quickly between stations. Large screens showed different views of the colony and the space around it. Commander Kyung stood at the central table looking at a 3D map. She looked up when June entered. "Good, you're here. We have a situation." June joined her at the table. The 3D map showed Horizon, the gas giant it orbited, and something else. 3 large objects, near the colony. They were unlike any ships June had ever seen. They had strange, curved shapes with parts that seemed to move and change. "What are they?" he asked. "We don't know," Kyung said. "They appeared about 20 minutes ago. Our sensors didn't detect them until they were almost on top of us. They're like nothing we've seen before." Dr. Park, the colony's chief scientist, joined them. "We believe they're ships, and based on their technology, they must be alien." June felt a chill. In all of humanity's space exploration, they had found simple life forms on a few planets, but never an intelligent alien species, until now. "Have they made contact?" June asked. "Yes." Commander Kyung pointed to another screen showing strange symbols. "This came through 10 minutes ago. Our computers are trying to translate it, but it's not like any language we know." As they watched, one of the alien ships moved closer to the colony. It was massive, at least 10 times bigger than the largest Earth ships. "What do they want?" June whispered. "We don't know," Dr. Park said. "But their position above the colony is concerning." Suddenly, the main communications officer called out, "Commander, we have partial translation." Everyone turned to the largest screen where the alien message now appeared with some Earth words mixed with unknown symbols. "Humans," unknown symbol. "Territory," unknown symbol. "Violation," unknown symbol. "Depart," unknown symbol. "Or face," unknown symbol. "They think we're trespassing," Dr. Park said. "This moon must be important to them." Commander Kyung straightened her uniform. "We need to respond. Tell them we come in peace, that we didn't know this area was claimed, and ask for time to discuss." The communications officer typed quickly, sending the message. Tense minutes passed as they waited for a response. "Look!" someone shouted. On the screen, parts of the alien ships were opening, revealing what looked like weapons. "Raise shields," Commander Kyung ordered. "All personnel, to battle stations." June watched in horror as the colony's protective shield activated, a thin blue barrier surrounding their home. It was designed to protect against space debris and radiation, not alien weapons. Engineering team, we need maximum power to the shields, Kyung called. June, can you? She never finished her sentence. A bright flash lit up the room as something hit the shield. The entire colony shook. Direct hit, an officer yelled. Shield holding at 92%. Another flash, another hit. The colony shook harder. 87%, Commander Kyung's face was grim. They've made their decision, so have we. We fight to protect our home. She turned to June. Get to the power core. We need everything you can give us. As June ran from the command center, all he could think about was Hana. He had promised to come back to her. He had to keep that promise. Behind him, the alien ships, the Void Striders, continued their attack. The first battle between humans and aliens had begun. The Void Strider vessels positioned themselves in formation above the colony. Without further warning, they launched their first volley, pulsing energy projectiles that the humans would later liken to missiles, though they were actually living constructs of the Void Strider's biomechanical technology. The colony's shields held initially, but the alien weapons adapted with each impact, probing for weaknesses. Commander Kyung ordered an evacuation to the underground bunkers, recognizing that the settlement's defenses wouldn't last long against such advanced weaponry. June and Hana were caught in the open when the first shield failed. A section of the colony dome shattered, exposing them to the moon's thin atmosphere. Emergency protocols kicked in, sealing off that section with emergency barriers, but June and Hana were now cut off from the main evacuation route. Stay close, Hana, June said, activating the emergency oxygen supply on his daughter's suit. We're going to take the maintenance tunnels to the bunker. As they traversed the increasingly damaged colony, June witnessed the devastating effectiveness of the Void Strider weapons. What humans called bombs were actually seed-like structures that burrowed into colony structures before detonating, spreading tendrils of destructive energy through the human constructions. The main evacuation route had been severed by the attack. June, using his engineer's knowledge of the colony's layout, guided Hana through maintenance tunnels toward the secondary evacuation point. They were joined by a small group of other colonists, Do-hyun, a medical technician, Sung-ho, a botanist, and an elderly couple, Jin and Yuna. The group arrived at a collapsed section of tunnel. The only way forward was through an exposed surface corridor, a dangerous path directly under the ongoing bombardment. June calculated they had perhaps 2 minutes to cross before the next wave of Void Strider weapons would target that area. Everyone, we move fast and stay low, June instructed. Do-hyun, can you carry Hana for part of the way? I'll go first to check if it's safe. They made it halfway across when June's suit sensors detected incoming projectiles. Looking up, he saw a Void Strider seed bomb descending directly toward their position. In that moment, he made his decision. Do-hyun, take Hana and run, he shouted, pushing his daughter into the medical technician's arms. Get to the bunker. The rest of you go. As the others fled, June ran in the opposite direction, waving his arms and activating his suit's emergency beacon to draw the Void Strider weapon away from the group. The seed bomb, attracted to the strongest energy signature, adjusted its trajectory toward him. Hana screamed for her father as Do-hyun carried her away. The last thing she saw was June standing defiantly in the open as the weapon struck him directly, enveloping him in a blinding flash of bioluminescent energy. 3 days later, the survivors huddled in the deep bunkers beneath the colony. The Void Strider attack had mysteriously ceased shortly after June's sacrifice, but no one dared venture to the surface yet. Commander Kyung gathered the colony's remaining leadership around a communication terminal. Something's happening, she said. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The terminal displayed a series of images, June facing the seed bomb, the moment of impact, and then, unexpectedly, the seed bomb's core remaining intact rather than detonating fully. The final image showed June's body surrounded by a nimbus of the same bioluminescent energy that powered the Void Strider ships. The Void Striders had been watching through their weapons, living extensions of their consciousness. They had witnessed June's selfless act to save his child and the others. In their culture, Such a sacrifice to protect offspring was considered the highest expression of sentience and worthy of profound respect. A new transmission arrived, this time in simplified human language. The human protector speaks through us now. We understand. We will depart. 1 week later, as the colonists began rebuilding, a small Void Strider vessel returned. It landed gently at the edge of the settlement, and from it emerged a strange biomechanical construct, a vessel containing a shimmer of consciousness that the Void Striders had managed to preserve from June's final moments. Though not truly June, this echo of his being would help bridge understanding between humans and Void Striders. The construct sought out Hana first, kneeling before the girl with a gesture that mimicked how her father used to greet her after work. "Your father's protection continues," it said in a voice not quite June's but carrying his inflections. "And through his sacrifice, 2 species have found a way toward peace." The story of the human who died protecting his child became a foundational tale in both human and Void Strider cultures, a reminder that across the vastness of space, the capacity for sacrifice transcends biological differences and can forge unexpected bonds between the stars.